Good morning, good evening, and good night. This is Crypto Picaroon, and we are going to dissect the Moonrunners white paper that was dropped yesterday on Thursday, the 15th of June. Today is Friday, the 16th of June. The dust has not yet settled on this white paper, so we're going to dig deep. Now, you're going to want to watch until the very end. This video assumes that you are potentially new to the Moonrunners ecosystem, but it has lots of information for Moonrunners holders as well, and it just gives you some comparisons, and it gives you some information that you're going to want to stay till the very end to watch. Obviously, we need to start with this. This is not financial advice. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm taking what's in the white paper and serving it to you in a way that might be easier for you to digest, or just giving you some information and providing you some comparisons, clarifying some misconceptions, looking at pitfalls that you might have, but certainly not financial advice. You need to consider that yourself and think about what you want to do with your money, but I'm not going to give you any financial advice over the course of today. So, Moonrunners were a free mint that minted on the 23rd of June 2022. We're almost at a 1-year anniversary, hit an all-time high of approximately 0.8 ETH, and the community has been going hard ever since. They've done lots and lots and lots of stuff for the community as a project, and we have a companion collection known as Dragon Horde, which are these amazing dragons that are available on the Ethereum blockchain. But the community is an absolutely fantastic community, and one of the things that was coming up and has been in the pipeline for a while, and we've been quite excited about, is this concept of yield generation. And yesterday's white paper essentially gave us the roadmap towards yield generation. It gave us all the details. It gave us absolutely everything we needed to know about yield generation, and we're here today. And we need to start looking at Moonrunners in a little bit of a different light. So let's do some comparisons so that we can see where we are. And bear with me on this one because it's an interesting one. So if you wanted to get into the Yuga ecosystem and wanted to buy a Bored Ape yacht club, it's going to cost you about $77,000 based on today's Ethereum prices, or $15,000 if you wanted to buy a Mutant Ape yacht club. Now, that's great because you'd be able to stake your ape coin and get more ape coin. You'd be able to generate ape coin, etc. But you're going to, from an income point of view, from a reward point of view, you're dependent on the price of ape. Ape could go down, ape could go up. You're dependent on Yuga to keep on innovating with their airdrops, etc. You're dependent on that floor price, and although it's been stable, it's gone up and it's got down. So there we are. It's a pretty big chunk of change. Okay, so 15k, 78, 77k, big chunk of change. So bear that in mind, because what we're going to do is we're going to look at what the Moonrunners has to offer in terms of a value proposition, in terms of the entry into the ecosystem for you and the potential rewards. Now, we've talked about this idea of yield generation, and there's two Web 2 vehicles that the Moonrunners are going to be employing. We'll talk about them at the very end. But in essence, what's happening is the Moonrunners are going to be launching two Web 2 vehicles that are going to generate profit for the project. Now, that means that the project will not be dependent on the royalties of secondary sales of their NFTs. Now, of that profit, 50% is going to fund future growth for the project, so it is a sustainable long-term business. But the second 50%, the other half, goes into rewards for holders, right? And it says Primordia holders, because what we're doing, or what the project are doing, I'm not doing anything, I'm not part of the project, I'm part of the community. What the project are doing is they're releasing Primordia land, and that's 8,088 NFTs, 17 of which are ultra rare legendaries. And these lands will form part of the lore, they'll form part of the long-term future project in terms of the assets. There's relics, there's loot, there's something there about carbon credits, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But what these lands do, when you stake these lands, you go off, you've bought one of these primordial lands, you don't own anything else from the Moonrunners ecosystem, you've just gone and bought this one. First off the bat, you've gone and said, right, I'm going to get some primordial land. Each of those items of land will entitle you to a share of rewards that you will be able to claim on a quarterly basis. So after year one, you'll be able to claim annually $268. Now, this is a projected amount. It's a conservative estimate based on the revenue streams and the models, so this could be higher. but it could also be lower depending on markets. But these are the numbers that the Moonrunners team have cleared with all of their advisors, etc. And this is where we are. So by year one, we're talking about $268. By the end of year 5, we're looking at an annual return of about $2,215. That's per item of land. So if you've got 10 items of land, you multiply those numbers by 10, and it'll give you an idea of what you could be claiming as a reward on an annual basis based on your holding of Primordia land. Okay? Now, if you happen to mint one of the legendaries, then it gets really exciting because these numbers are astronomical. $2,146 at year 1 all the way up to $17,725 at the end of year 5. So huge benefits that whoever mints those legendary lands are really going to be extremely lucky. So you could go off and you could buy yourself a Primordia piece NFT when they mint and when they launch. These are the numbers you'll be looking at getting. But in actual fact, it is in your benefit to own either a Moonrunner or a Dragonhorde or both, because these are the returns. Now look at the return for year 1, $268. And this is the projected mint price, and the mint price is in dollars because the project will then convert that into ETH closer to the mint day. But we're talking about holders of a Moonrunner asset can get this token for $250, which means that you will potentially get your investment back, that sum of money, back as a reward by the end of year 1. So within a year, you'll be, in profit from a return on investment point of view. And it also has a highest allocation of legendary. So your highest chance of getting a legendary will be if you're a Moonrunner holder or a Dragonhorde holder wanting to purchase an asset at pre-sale. Okay, so the prices go up significantly as you go through the different phases. But that's not quite all. There's another reason why you want to be a Moonrunner or a Dragonhorde holder, because part of the ecosystem for Moonrunners has been rewarding individuals with soulbound tokens. So if you have one Moonrunner or one Dragonhorde, you're able to claim a bronze soulbound token. You will be able to stake Dragonhorde in the coming weeks and potentially months, as told to us by the team. Now, if you have 5, you can claim a silver token, a silver trophy, 10, a gold, 25, a diamond trophy. Now, these trophies are critical. They're critical because for every 5 lands that you hold in your wallet, you will have a boost against 1 Primordial land if you hold a Moonrunner Soulbound token. So let's say you buy 5 lands and you hold a Moonrunner Soulbound token. One of those lands is going to be boosted automatically. If you own 10, 2 lands will be boosted. If you own 15, 3 lands will be boosted. 20, 4 lands will be boosted. 25, 5 lands will be boosted. And the boost will multiply the base reward dependent on the soulbound token level, and you're going to get 5 boosts maximum per wallet. So after 25 lands in a wallet, you don't get any more boosts. It might be time to consider getting another soulbound token and putting lands somewhere else if you have more than 25 lands. Okay? But what does this mean? Well, it means that if you hold a bronze token, rather than getting $268 in year 1 for that land that is boosted, you're going to get $321 for that boosted land. And if you are a diamond holder, rather than get $268 for your year 1 reward for that piece of land, you're going to get $1,072, right? So that's a massive, massive difference for these boosted lands, and it begins to add up. So let's say that you are not a Moonrunners holder, you are coming into the ecosystem completely clean, you don't want to buy Moonrunner, you don't want to buy Dragonhorde, you can still buy 5 lands at $300 a piece, and it'll cost you $1,500. And at the end of year 1, you're going to have 5 lands generating $268, which will give you a $1,340 reward. So you'll not have made everything back yet, but you would have made most of it. And by year 2, you would have made that and some. In fact, by the end of year 5, you would have accumulated a total holdings of $28,330 just for holding your Primordia land NFT. So you haven't sold the land, you still have that land there as an asset that you can then sell off. But just by holding it, irrespective of what happens with floor prices, irrespective of what happens with anything to do with that NFT, that is the projected rewards, because these rewards are coming from these Web2 vehicles. So as long as those Web2 vehicles are successful, and you'll see why we believe they will be very successful in a couple of minutes, then you're going to get that reward. Now, what's the difference if you now have one Moonrunner? Well, if you have one Moonrunner, you're going to have the cost of land is cheaper, so it's going to cost you $1,250, and you're going to have to pay for a Moonrunner if you don't have one. At the current rate, you're talking about approximately a $107 investment. Better change that there. So you're talking about a total startup cost of $1,357, which means at the end of year one, 4 of your lands are going to give you $268, and one's going to give you $321 because it's boosted at the rate of 1.2, and you're going to get a return of $1,393, which means you should be in the green from year one. Now, accumulative rewards mean that you're now at $29,490 just by having one Moonrunner. So it's about a $1,000 increase on not having any, which is powerful. But it gets really exciting when you start talking about 5 lands, because when you're talking about 5 lands, you need a diamond trophy that's comprised of 24 Moonrunners and 1 Dragon Horde, because you need to have a Dragon Horde to trigger this Soulbound token boost. But you're talking about a year 1 return of 2,144. Now, you're not going to make your return on investment back in year 1 if you want to go for a diamond today, but you will certainly do so by the end of year 2, looking at the projected numbers. But you are looking at a yield generation of $45,424 over the 5-year period. Okay, with the yield of year 5 looking at 17,720. Now, if you look at both of these examples, the barrier to entry is significantly less than having to buy a MAYC at $15,000, and you're still going to be getting returns on your investment or your assets at a relatively generous price. Now, we go back to these guys. So there you go, 76,000, 15,000. You can see that Moonrunners is a much lower barrier to entry into the project. The rewards are more stable, and we'll explain why we believe they're more stable in a second. But let's do some fun maths. Let's take $15,000 and let's invest them into Moonrunners. So you're buying 25 pieces of land at $6,250 because you've got your assets, and you're spending $3,163 to get yourself a diamond trophy. So you've got to spend only $9,413 of that 15,000 amount, because remember that after 25 you need to get yourself another Soulbound trophy, and didn't want to add that complication. But your year 1 return is 10,720, which means that already you're in the green, because your lands are just generating a hell of a lot of yield. And by the end of your 5-year cycle, you would have recouped $227,000 worth of rewards based on the projections and the conservative projections that have been made by the team. So, as you can see, not only is the barrier to entry less, but potentially you've got quite a nice little nest egg that you could potentially claim as rewards. Now, why are we as a Moonrunners community so excited? So, the Moonrunners founder, known as Antics, he's the gentleman in the far left-hand side. Now, he was the CEO of an 8-figure digital media agency, and this is what the 2 Web2 vehicles, one of the Web2 vehicles was his bread and butter. And you've got Paddy, you've got Ian Shaw, you've got Stuart Vaughan. These individuals have a hell of a lot of experience in one of the Web2 vehicles that they're going to, that Moonrunners are going to be launching. So this is a team with a vast amount of experience. It is a team with all the credentials to drive a successful project, but importantly, they've done this before. They have built multi-million-dollar brands, and they have been able to do so for their clients in the past, and now they're going to take those skills, those contacts, all of that information, and develop that for the Moonrunners. So one of the investments, and 75% of the investment that's going to be made, is going to be made into permanent forestry. Now, this is something that is available in New Zealand, where our founder Antics lives, and essentially this permanent forestry allows us to sell carbon credits, which are then sold to companies who want to balance their carbon credit emissions, and they are sold for a profit. And this is a stable source of income of approximately 20 to 30% APY. And this is going to form the large proportion of the stable income. And this is an area which is going to only increase. Carbon credits are costing more and more. More and more companies are having to reach out to buy carbon credits. And not only are we looking at generating rewards for our community, but we're also looking at a green way of doing so. So think of Moonrunners going green chip rather than blue chip. And the second one, which is the kind of, if you like, highly scalable, multi-billion-dollar industry, is this idea of pet vitamins and pet food and e-commerce side of things, which is where 25% of the investment is going to be going to. And this is where all this expertise comes into. Antix digital marketing expertise and the expertise of Paddy and the rest of the team in developing products of this particular nature. So it's an interesting overview. To sum up, Moonrunners are extremely excited as a community. You're going to want to get yourself some land. You're going to want to get yourself a Moonrunner. You're going to want to get yourself a Dragon Horde to be able to unlock the higher levels of Soulband trophies. But you need to, if you're going to, you need to consider doing so soon, because there are fewer dragons than there are Moonrunners, and there are lots of Moonrunners holders holding on to their assets to try and get a first advantage onto this land and this wonderful white paper that has been produced by the team. So hope you enjoyed that, and have a great day.